Okay, it is 8:01. I will go ahead and get started. Again, I know most folks will probably trickle in a little bit later. That's okay. For posterity's sake, let's continue. My name is Jessica Keegan. I am a program officer with the Office of Economic Empowerment. I'll describe what that is in just one moment, and I use she, her pronouns. So we'll just go ahead and take you through a quick agenda from the OEE side with some welcome remarks, some just housekeeping and disclosures. Then we'll dive into the workshop, which we're very excited about. And throughout the webinar, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions in the Q&A. We might have some time at the end if you would like to ask any questions. So, like I mentioned, the Office of Economic Empowerment is a department within the Office of the Treasurer and the Receiver General of Massachusetts. And our goal is to deliver programming to all residents of Massachusetts at every stage of their lives, regardless of their economic background. We also offer initiatives tailored to meet the unique financial experience of veterans, women, high school students, and older adults, which is why we are here today in this partnership with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs to offer you this workshop on mobile banking. So this is a Zoom webinar. It will be recorded. This recording may be uploaded onto a public website for future use. I will go ahead and send out this recording once we are done today, so you all have it and can share with your communities. And this will most likely be uploaded to our YouTube, and I will share that with you as well. So any information shared through the questions functions will be anonymous, but we are a public entity, so we are subject to public record laws, so the chat record is not anonymous. You may have noticed that this is webinar and not a standard Zoom meeting, so you will not be able to turn on your camera or turn off your microphone. However, you are able to ask questions to us anytime throughout the webinar with the Q&A function or message us directly with the chat. So you will be able to communicate with us if you ever so need to. And once this meeting will complete, once you hit that exit button, a little post survey will come up that'll let us know if we did good for you all. So please go ahead and complete that when you finish, just so we can continue to improve our program and continue to make good content for you folks. So we do have one more session next week. It's on the basics of home buying. It's our first time with this topic, and we're super, super excited about it. I'll go ahead and put that registration link in the chat. So if you feel like you would like to get up at 8 a.m. again to come learn some awesome, exciting content, we'll be able to give that to you. And I'll stop sharing my screen so that we can switch over to the lovely presenters at M&T Bank, who we're very grateful for this morning. So go on ahead and take it away.
I am on my way to sharing. Good morning, everybody. And
Dutch, you know what I'm going to say.
I know what you're going to say, just like we thought. How funny is that? So let me make sure that you don't see all my notes, because that would be boring for all of you.
Looks
and
good.
Here we go. Workshop introduction. Good morning, everybody. And if you've joined us for the third week in a row, thank you. This is just like a fitness exercise. Nothing better than waking up and right away diving into financial education. Super excited to have you with us today. My name is Dutch Koltoff, and I'm joined with my partner, Jordan Green, and together we form the Financial Empowerment Team at M&T Bank. And if you haven't heard or seen M&T Bank, the purpose of our bank is to uplift our communities and help people make financial decisions, better financial decisions. So we're truly excited for our partnership with the Office of Economic Empowerment and our partnership with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. And to have this series of workshops where we help people and share some ideas, some suggestions, some strategies, and some financial tips to hopefully help improve your financial awareness, as well as the awareness of the people that you work with on a daily basis. We are very aware that you work with vulnerable populations and that the elderly need to be protected from financial harm. So we're really excited that you're taking the time to be part of this series of workshops, and hopefully it gives you some ideas for you, your family, and the elderly. And like we mentioned in the past, if you happen to work for an agency and you think some of these workshops would be good to have in person for your agency, feel free to reach out to Jessica and we can see if we can try to set that up for you as well. A couple of reminders: these trainings and workshops are not designed to turn you into any type of financial expert or financial advisor. There is no type of certification available for attending the workshop. It's simply a way to provide education on financial terms and strategies. And if you need any additional assistance, if you have a situation where you're like, well, I could really help improve my financial life or have additional suggestions or tips, that could be needed, we do ask that you reach out to your trusted financial experts and advisors in your community or to us to review your personal scenario in the elder community you serve. We do hope to have time for Q&A. Today's session is a little bit different in the sense that we're not necessarily talking about some basic banking resources. We're really talking more about tips and strategies. So we might have some time for Q&A at the end, but again, if not, feel free to email us and we're going to try to make that work. Today's topic is a couple of mobile and online banking. So how can I access some of the resources? How can I make sure that I can do some of the tips and the suggestion that Dutch suggested when we talked about budgeting, when we talked about savings, when we talked about credit and credit scores. And we're also going to then talk about safety features. How can we make sure that mobile banking and online banking are safe to use? Are they safe to use? Are there activities I should or should not be doing online? And then we're also going to have a little bit of a topic, probably about 10 minutes, to discuss all the resources that are available to you directly on the website of OEE, on the website of the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, on the website of M&T Bank, so that you have additional resources and next steps available to you, even before we go to next week's workshop. You know, I'd like to start with making sure we're all engaged. So let's start with a poll. How do you, and if you do, use your online banking? And please check these for me. I check my balance and account activity. I pay bills online. I actually have set up banking alerts. We talked about those a bit. One of the two, A and B, all of the above, or none of the above. I could just ask you to put in an answer. I just kind of want to see if there's some engagement with online banking already. And then we'll talk about some of these options. Go ahead, Jessica, and lock it out. All of the above. Oh, that's good. So we have a very active group that is very familiar and is using some of online banking already. It's very good to see. And that will help discussing some of the options that are available to you. Good to hear. So banking preferences. You know, a few years ago, and I've talked in previous webinars how I was born and raised in the Netherlands and I moved to the States in 1995. So back in the Netherlands, literally there is no more bank in my hometown. I live in a small community of 3,000 people in the east of the Netherlands. It's a farmers community. We used to have one bank in town and everybody knew the bank manager. And about 15 years ago, that bank disappeared. And everything in the Netherlands is now done completely online. My parents have a little PIN pass next to their computer. And if they want to access their online banking, if they want to look at their statements or pay some items, they swipe their little card and they do online banking through the computer. And they physically would have to make an appointment in an office in a few towns over if they wanted to visit a bank location. And for a while, there was a lot of worry also in the States that retail banking, that branch banking might disappear. But I think about 10, 15 years ago, same thing, a lot of discussion around, okay, is brick and mortgage going to disappear? Is everything going to go towards a virtual and online world? There's a few reasons that won't happen. And one of them is the amount of banks in the United States. We talked about our banking basics workshop about how many different options you have to find the right bank with the right resources for you. But the second option is that every year when we ask Americans on how they prefer to bank, yes, the number of online banking and mobile banking is high, like 68, right? Almost 2/3 of Americans like to bank online, like to do online banking, but not exclusively. There's continued to be about 20 to 25% of Americans that physically want to visit a branch, that like to walk into a brick and mortar store, that want to be able to discuss options in person, and that don't want to be limited by convenience, in the sense that we want a location that's pretty close to our home. So there's kind of been a shift in the United States specifically where the brick and mortar branches are changing their appearance. Right now there's coffee shops inside a branch. Now there's branches with little libraries. Now
I can be able to join.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
The slide pulled up, Jessica?
Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
I
are back.
apologize. I don't know what happened there. Well, let me make sure I get the slide back up as well. We knew we were going to have tech issues, right? There's no slide at the moment.
Nope, let me know if you need me to share anything.
Come right back. And share.
Perfect.
Thank you. Sorry for that. So like I said, it looks like in the States, we'll continue to have a combination between branches, different type of branches, and mobile banking and online banking to kind of continue to help how people like to get their banking organized. Let me just get set. So why are people so interested in online and mobile banking? It is simple, it's flexible, it's convenient. Like, how easy is it to every day just kind of check your banking balance, make sure there's no funny activity happening on your statements, especially when you have a strong internet connection, and on days where financial institutions might be closed. It's also just convenience to be able to look at your bank account and make sure that everything is in order. And we've talked about that in previous sessions. I literally every morning I work in the bank, I look at my bank account just to make sure things are okay. And it's just, I check the Dutch news, I check my bank account, I check sports, and then I get my day going, just the kind of way it is. Security, always a difficult topic to bring up, and we'll have some more topics and resources around that in a few slides. But online and mobile banking are actually more secure than carrying around credit cards, debit cards that might have account numbers and magnetic strips on them that might be used in skimming machines. It's more secure than carrying out bank statements, for sure. It's more secure than walking around with cash. So a lot of people like the convenience of online and mobile banking, and most banks have a very secure and difficult to access, for thieves at least, gateway to make sure that all your account information is very well protected. Excuse me. And then the ability to improve and monitor your finances. And I was very happy to see that many of you said that you already have alerts in place. One of the most important pieces that we've talked about in all these workshops so far is automation. You want to be able to automate your savings. You want to be able to automate and monitor how your goals are actively being reached and how you can reward yourself when you reach a goal. If you're afraid of identity theft or you're afraid of your credit report being accessed, you want to set up alerts to make sure that you are notified. And it's the same with banking. A lot of mobile banking apps have features that will send you notifications and alerts if all of a sudden a large purchase is trying to be activated, if all of a sudden your balance falls below a certain level. So I'm happy to see that many of you already had some of those features in place. Banking mobile apps have also increased the ability to physically do banking activities that normally were only able to be done in person. So depositing checks is a huge one, and we'll talk about it in a second. There truly is no reason, and I've never understood it, even when I first came to the States, to collect a physical check, walk into a branch, cash it after you stand in line, and walk to your own bank to deposit it. Nowadays, you can use your phone to take a picture of a check if people still pay by check, and make sure that money goes into your account. Most of the time that money is in access just as fast as cash would be, depending on the amount, or by next day, just like a physical check would be. You have the ability to transfer funds between accounts, not just your own accounts, not just loan payments, but also other accounts, which means you can pay bills, both with a mobile app and most of the time online. Login, quick and easy access that normally can be done in my case with Face ID for extra security. And another really neat feature, I think, is when you lose your debit card, when you lose your credit card, you have the ability to quickly go online and put a block on that card and make sure it can't be used while you're ordering a replacement card or while you're looking around to see if you can find it. You can change authorized users on your credit card. If you've joined my previous workshops, you know I have an 18-year-old daughter. Tomorrow she turns 18, actually. It's sad. But she has access to my credit card. She's an authorized user. I can monitor her activity while I help start building her credit. So online banking and mobile banking gives me the access. I don't have to wait for statements anymore to do so. It also is a fantastic tool to help with your financial goals. M&T Bank has a feature called M&T Money Smart, and different banks have different online features and online apps. There's companies specifically focused on apps to help people reach their financial goals. I'm just using these as an example because they're easy to access for me. But you can set your budget, you can send spending trends, you can type in your goals, you can see your cash flow. There's different sheets, there's different tracking mechanisms that allow you to watch how you are managing your money, where your money is being spent. It helps you create a savings plan. It helps you see how you're tracking your goals. It can set up reward notifications. So you really in one place have the ability to fully manage your financial activity in one spot instead of having to have it aggregate in 4 or 5 different locations. We talked about safety and how my mother-in-law has different statements on her pool table. Online banking could turn into that pool table with many different portals and many different online gateways. The more you can consolidate, the more you have the ability to have all your finances in one spot so you can easily track your goals, your savings plans, and your activity. Truly, the better it would be. Check deposits. If you're uncomfortable with making check deposits, and this might really be a topic to discuss with the elderly population, right? They might feel uncomfortable and unsafe. They might not know how to physically use a check and then with their phone make a check deposits. There's all kinds of links online. If you go to Google and just type in, how do I make a mobile deposit, it will share you. We actually have a link on our own website. But really, you just take a picture of the front and the back of your check. The money goes into your account, and normally the same night or the next morning, you receive an email that your check was accepted and the money is available. The elderly still are very comfortable using physical checks. So there's one thing you take away from the session to work with the elderly, maybe teach them how mobile deposit could work and how they can use transfer features instead of checks to be able to send money. Both my kids receive money from their grandparents. You won't be surprised that my parents in the Netherlands use online transfers to be able to send money to the kids, and it hits the account instantly. My in-laws here in the States continue to use physical checks that they mail to us, another safety feature that they probably shouldn't think about. And then my daughter takes the picture. There's tons of money transfer opportunities that would allow people to transfer money instantly, sometimes with a small fee, sometimes without a small fee. Zelle is used by a lot of banks, Venmo, Google Pay, Apple Pay, Cash App. A lot of different ways by phone or online banking to say, okay, I want money to go from my bank account to somebody else's bank account. And most of the time, bank account information doesn't even need to be shared anymore. As long as the recipient uses their email or their phone number to access this transfer app, then that's the only information that the sender would receive. If I wanted to send money to Jordan, I would just use his phone number from my phone number that's linked to my bank account to his phone number that's linked to his bank account. The money gets sent almost instantly. It's great when you go out with friends, you need to share money to pay for an item. You don't have to carry cash around anymore. You just quickly use a transfer app and decide if you want to pay directly or not. And more apps are using not just cash, they also allow the ability to pay with crypto. They also allow the ability to get rewarded for using the app, to get points for other purchases. So there's just this whole interchangeable connectivity between bank accounts, rewards, online transfers, paying people money, tracking your budgeting, that can all be done in one spot. Again, watch for fees. Many times transfer apps would say, okay, you want to send $100 and the recipient wants to receive the money right away, it could cost you 3 to 4%. So there's a $3 fee if you decide to send that money instantly. If the person receiving the money can wait 2 business days, the money could be sent for free. So just keep that in mind with money transfers. My favorite feature for online banking consolidates everything even further, and that's the mobile wallet. So you have the ability to take your credit cards, to take your bank information, your debit card, and literally store them on your phone. Travel apps with a QR code, the health passport, the COVID-19 pass in Massachusetts. Instead of carrying different items around, you have the ability to just have it all on your phone in a mobile wallet. And when you decide to purchase an item, all you have to do is magically wave your phone to the payment screen, and very safely and very securely, items will get paid and all the rewards and tracking automatically happens as well. It's a very safe feature because you don't have a physical card in your hands. You don't have to use a skimming machine. You don't have to worry about people looking over your shoulder trying to steal your PIN numbers. Some of the items that we discussed in safety disappear when you use a mobile wallet. As long as you don't use your phone, I guess, would be something to keep in mind. But frankly, this is also a really good feature to share with the elderly. Most of the elderly now have cell phones, have smartphones, and instead of carrying multiple items around that have to do with their health and medical ID, that have to do with travel, that have to do with finances, you'd be able to consolidate it all in the mobile wallet. So enrollment for all these features is easy. It can be done online. You can visit your financial institution, go online, take a look at the app and the website, and do it yourself. Obviously, make sure you set a secure password. I've mentioned before that the #1 password in the US, which surprises the heck out of me, is the word password or password 1234. Please try to make sure you have a more secure password. The more you enter the mobile world and the online world, the more you want to protect your password and be aware of passwords. Every bank in your network, if you still wanted a physical local bank, and just make sure that this first time you get set up correctly, it might be a good idea to make an appointment with your local branch and just say, hey, I'm really interested in mobile banking. I'm really interested in online banking. Can you help me set it up? Can you help set it up for my elderly person and make sure that we are good to go going forward? Maybe do a demonstration and be comfortable in doing so. Identity theft and identity fraud are the one item to watch for when you decide to set someone up for online banking. We talked about this in a previous class. There is a difference between identity theft when somebody is trying to access your personal information, even if it's not for financial gain, versus identity fraud when people trying to take your money. Identity theft without financial gain would come into play with medical information, when people trying to get prescription drugs. And because we're recommending that more and more items are stored digitally, because we're recommending an item like the digital wallet, both to access money and other information, let's make sure that you protect your information, make sure that you use a password that's correctly, and let's make sure that when everything is on your phone, that you don't open text scams or online email scams. I might have mentioned in previous classes, if you joined before, the one recommendation around safety: never, ever, ever click on a link that is texted to you. Never click on a link or attachment that is emailed to you. It could be a tracking app that says this is UPS or Amazon. We need some information before we can deliver your package. Hey, I remember we had a great birthday. Check out this picture. And that text could even come from somebody that looks local, depending on what your local phone number is set up. And very common, hey, this is your bank. This seems to be an unauthorized transaction. For your protection, we want to make sure that we can verify your account information. Please click here. In any of those cases, the best thing to do is to delete that text message completely and to contact the bank or contact the sender and say, hey, did you just contact me? Because I received this weird text. Never, ever, ever click on a link. Never, ever, ever open an attachment. If you download from a source that's not trusted, the last item on the security page, you pretty much give access to your financial information or to your computer or to other information that's stored on your phone. So you don't want to do that. So only download from a trusted source. When you look at an app, when you look at a website, there should be a little lock in front of the URL page that shows you it's safe to use. Verify who you communicate with, use a strong password, keep it secret. And I wish I'd done this, always use a secure internet connection when you're sharing and looking for information. Monitoring your account and your transactions continues to be important. So if you have the ability to set alerts, if you have the ability to set transaction alerts, when is somebody spending too much money? When is your balance falling below? Make sure you set those up so you can quickly address them if needed. More and more banks, which is fantastic, are helping people to avoid overdraft fees, are helping people to avoid transaction fees by setting up these alerts and being able to respond quickly. So let's make sure you do so. And last but not least, when it comes to security, log out, physically go to the top of the page, click on the menu and say, let me log out from this item. Don't leave any page open and running on your phone or open and running on your computer while you start moving around and possibly access unsecure Wi-Fi areas. So overall security, in my mind, for online banking and mobile banking.
Oh, we just lost Dutch again. Let me go ahead and share my screen. While we wait, oh, Dutch is back. Hey,
And I'm
Dutch.
back. Yeah, I'm back. I apologize. That's so strange. So from a safety perspective, and I'll go back to the screen, but from a safety perspective, I truly feel that online banking and anything that has to do with online banking is truly some of the safest way to go. Okay, so we've talked about the flexibility and convenience.
Sorry, Dutch, you know what I'm gonna say right now.
The nose page is up.
Ooh, wow. I'm just happy we're recording this session versus the other ones that had no issues. Is this better?
Still on notes view. I'm happy to present if you'd like as well.
Here we go. Back to normal.
Still
No,
on
not
notes
yet.
view.
I'm sorry, folks. Let's see if we can do this differently.
If not, I'm happy to share my screen. And if you want to tell me when to biff through things at your control.
How's this?
Still can see the notes. You can press present your view. You can press
Yeah,
all the way to the left from beginning.
Jessica, could you switch? I'm sorry. I don't seem to be able to do it quickly.
Completely fine.
Let me stop my share. Sorry, everyone. So we'll do it differently.
Sometimes this happens in the morning, and that's okay.
Thank you, and I agree. So the good thing is we finished one topic only with one issue. So we'll move to the next topic, which has to do with the resources of online banking. So if you want to move ahead two more, there you go. The resources that are available to you. This is a little bit different than the overall presentation of our workshops. So far in the 3 different workshops, we've physically talked about items you can do, your family can do, activities you can share with the elderly population around banking, the basics of banking, around budgeting and savings, around credit score management, credit reporting, and then mobile and online banking. So we've given you a lot of tools to use on a day-to-day basis. We also felt it was important, and today was a good workshop for it, to then say, okay, if you didn't have a chance to attend all the workshops, or if you wanted to on your own time, maybe spend some extra time to look at resources and to learn about finances and to learn about financial foundations that are available to you, how could you find those? Jessica? So let's look at some of those online resources that are available to you. And we're going to specifically focus on 2 different websites. One is the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and then also the Office of Economic Empowerment. Both partners together with M&T Bank today that have really spend a lot of time to make sure that there's resources available to you, to help your families, to help the elderly community and make better financial decisions, which is at the end of the day, our overall goal. Go ahead. So as before, let's start with a little learning plan or a poll. I assume that this is your 3rd workshop and you've listened to Dutch and you've listened to some of the resources we gave to you. And one of them that we've talked about many times is myfinanciallifema.org. So I just kind of want to see if any of you already took a look at that website, registered for the site, and started looking at some of the online financial models that are available to you. So true or false? Yep, I listened to Dutch. I already registered. Let's see, Jessica. Oh, we have people registering. I like it. Very good to see. So we'll talk about that in more detail. Go ahead to the next slide. This is truly one of the best resources that's available to you. And we'll spend some time on it in a minute. But let's start with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. And it is truly important that you take the time to, on a regular basis, visit the website and look at some of the new resources that are available to you. So the overall mission of the Executive Office of Elder Affairs is to help promote independence, empowerment, and well-being of older people, individuals with disabilities, and their families. We want to make sure that the elderly can live healthy and make good decisions. We've talked in our fraud and identity workshop how, unfortunately, elderly are often victims and are often targeted by people that want to try to take away their financial independence and make it harder for them to live an independent life. So you play such an important role in your work with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, in your work in home care, in your work with the elderly directly. And we appreciate that, and we want to make sure that you have up-to-date resources available to you. not just through banking, not just through finances, but just some other resources, tips, suggestions, and anytime that you need some type of aid, it's often updated on the website. You go to the next screen. So key initiatives might change monthly, might change quarterly, but there's different support resources that are available to you that don't just focus on finances, but Medicare. How can I age healthy? How can I make sure that there's a good social environment? If I'm starting to see that people in my social circle are having difficulty remembering things, maybe Alzheimer's disease is rearing up its head. It's unfortunately happening in my family. What are some of the early signs I could look for? If you are a caregiver, what is some additional support that might be out there for you on a regular basis? Again, these are all general resources, more than just a phone number to call, but to be able to say, all right, I have some specific questions, I need some specific ideas. What is EOEA currently working on? What are some initiatives? Next screen, please. I clicked on the home caregiver information, and here's some additional information that could help you. There's newsletters, counseling options, specific caregiving information for workplaces. Are there support programs available in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that you could take advantage of? These are regular questions on the day-to-day basis for you, as well as the people that you're trying to support. There's a section there, how grandparents can help raise grandchildren. So again, it's not just about a phone number and let's call somebody and see if they can direct me to the right place. You have the ability on your own, in a group with the elderly, to truly go step by step. And if there's a topic that is important to you, to be able to say, you know what, it's on the website. Now I have some more detail. I can specifically reach out to somebody to make sure I use the right resource. Next, Jess. Ika. And then our other partner, as Jessica mentioned earlier, is the Office of Economic Empowerment. An office within the Treasurer and Receiver General Office tasked with offering free, accessible financial education to help promote wage equality, kind of reduce an income gap, and make sure that we offer a bright future for children, but also truly for any population in Massachusetts that needs help economically, trying to make sure resources are all available. And I've worked with the OEE for the last 5 years. It's one of our best partners. And I can truly say that anybody in the department is truly focused on making things better for the people in Massachusetts. And I'm happy that our partnership is part of that. So let's go to the next case, Jessica. So similar to the website for the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, their website is filled with fun activities, with fun resources that can help invest in our children's future with baby steps, that can help employees that work for the state, retirees that have worked for the state. If you wanted to schedule workshops for a facility that have to do with senior citizen education around scam prevention, there's a listing of upcoming events where events could be scheduled, including ours today. And then free financial education resources that you can use on a day-to-day basis that might help you make better decisions. And that's where I want to go next, because that directly links into what we've talked about before. Go ahead, Jessica. Before I go there, sorry, how can I set up, when we talk about economic empowerment for elder events, when you go to the event page or in the website of OEE, you can learn about hosting the financial education workshop directly on this website. And Jordan just shared the chat. It tells you how you can contact people in Jessica's office to coordinate one of these workshops. So if you wanted to have Dutch or Jordan come out, if you wanted to see if there was a partnership possible with M&T Bank or other partners of OEE, where people would come out and have some of these workshops virtually in front of a group or in person, we'd love to come back out through the OEE website. You'd be able to set that up and get additional resources. Go ahead, Jessica. So this is the site that I think is the most awesome site ever created when it comes to financial education. And I'm happy to say that M&T Bank has a similar website on M&T Bank and our Financial Education Center. We use the same financial education partner. And myfinanciallifema.org is a resource where you have the ability not just to read about resources and to look at tips around money management and identity protection, you go into every of these separate topics, you will see that some of the slides that you've seen in my workshop, some of the discussion points that you've seen in my workshops are linked to these resources on myfinanciallifema.org. And the way that the website is set up and what makes it so awesome and customizable, you have the ability to look at close to 40 different financial education topics. And every single one of those topics is separated in small digital modules. So instead of listening to Dutch speak for 45 minutes, as awesome and engaging that might be, you might have the ability to say, all right, today I only have 15 to 20 minutes. There's a specific topic I want to learn more about. Let's access the website and take a look. Go ahead, Jessica. So banking basics, budget and savings, credit and debt, growing wealth, saving and paying for education, working, scam and fraud, home ownership, retirement, multiple topics. And each single one of these topics have additional small 5 to 10 minute modules. They're little videos, they're interactive questions. You're asked to enter some of your personal information that can then calculate how you can make better decisions yourself. Truly an engaging and interactive way to learn more about basics of financing. I think I've shared this before. I actually use these modules with my kids, right? Part of, in my case, trying to be a better financial adult is that I'm trying to teach my kids a little bit more about finances. So I've asked them to go into some of these topics and I've asked them to complete a few of these modules. Makes me a boring dad, and I know that in a lot of schools now part of the curriculum is some type of financial education. But both my kids at almost 16, almost 18, have had bank accounts, have had debit cards, have had experience with credit, and are hopefully have a little bit more knowledge than other kids their age. Because many times in the workshops, when we talk to young adults, one of the first responses that we hear is, oh man, I wish I'd known that earlier. I wish I hadn't gone into this cycle of negative credit. And I wish I had received some education. I've told you myself, my personal story coming to the States. I made a lot of mistakes, had no idea how credit worked. Some of these basic lessons would have helped me. And this is a fantastic resource, myfinanciallifema.org. Register, take some modules and learn more about the basics of banking and make better decisions. Next screen, please, Jessica. So this is a good example of how these digital workshops are set up. Financial caregiving, if that's the topic you would have selected, it then shows you 5 different modules. They're 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and 6 minutes, giving some basic information that might help you in your day-to-day work. You click start and you go through a little process and interactive engagement. Same thing with budgeting and saving, families, creating a budget, how to create healthy financial habits. Just topics that we've discussed in workshops. The longest one here is 7 minutes. To quickly interact, to quickly get a personalized plan, to learn a little bit more about what you can do to get the conversation around budgeting started in the family. So really good resources, really good digital workshops that can be used truly by anybody, you, your family. They're available in English. I believe on the M&T side, they're going to be available in Spanish, but it's a really good start either way to start learning about financial education. Great resource, love it. Next one, Jessica. There's also, just like with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, OE makes sure that they stay up to date. So this is from a couple of months ago, because you can see the open enrollments for the Health Connector is there, end of year financial decisions. But truly on a monthly basis, new topics are added to the resource website. And this could be reading an article, it could be a link to another resource, it could be up-to-date and important information that would help you make your job a little bit easier. Just like with the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, OE makes sure that there's up-to-date, current information always available to you to help you make good decisions. One more plug, M&T Bank does it also on their website, and probably your own bank as well. Like it's just overall financial education and financial knowledge and making better financial decisions. More and more people like to do a little bit of research first. Again, 2/3 of people like to bank online and mobile banking. It's the same with banking research. But once you have done a little research, when you've kind of customized your model, it is important to then take the next step and maybe talk to a financial advisor. Jessica? And thank you for doing this, Jessica. Sorry. So other resources available to you. If you're not comfortable in dealing with a local agency. If you say, I don't really want to talk to the bank directly, really good partnership with AARP is available for the elderly, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, USA.gov, 3 websites that give good general information.
Oops, it looked like we lost
Yeah.
Dutch, but that's okay. We're
Okay.
almost at the end. What Dutch was saying is that these websites give fantastic resources to you and your communities. So for example, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, you can order free printed materials. And I know a lot of you work with older adults and they offer a lot of scam and fraud bookmarks, worksheets, things like that. There's just fantastic resources here that you may have already heard of, but if you haven't yet so far, these are fantastic. And Jordan, you're welcome to take over this end of summary coming up next.
I think I'm back.
Oh, Dutch is back.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Dutch is
See, this is why it's great that we have.
It's the weirdest thing. There's really only one slide left, so that makes things really easy. The summary about this last workshop. So we talked about resources and we reviewed strategies for financial resources. And just as a quick wrap up, right? So next week we'll have the topic around the basics of home buying. And I'll set the stage if you're willing to attend next week as well. It's truly more a general idea of, okay, what are some resources needed? What is some research I can do myself before I start the home buying process? What are some terms that might come up early in the process? So it's not a very in-depth workshop around buying a home. It's truly more a general idea of what can I do to get started in the process of home buying. And that's kind of been the idea with all these workshops, right? We're not trying to give you the end-all solution. We're just trying to help uplift your financial education, give you better resources, give you some ideas and suggestions and some strategies that you can hopefully put into place when you talk to your family, when you look at your own personal life, and truly when you deal with the elderly community. So that's the summaries of the different works that we had so far. Jessica, one more. So you can visit the Office of Economic Empowerment. There is a YouTube channel, and some of these workshops were recorded before and were publicly listed. I'm quite certain that this recording will not make that channel because obviously we've had some technical difficulty and I want to apologize. But an additional resource, if you do enjoy listening to me, some of our workshops have been listed publicly and you have the chance to do so. Next slide, please. Please complete the exit survey when we're done. It's important for us to know what we can improve, how we can make sure these topics stay worthwhile, and if we need to add or change anything to it. And then obviously, like mentioned in a 10-15 minute topic, go online, check out these resources that are available to you. And we're here for Q&A, or if there's no Q&A, I'm going to give it back to Jessica either way. But we're obviously always here to try to help. And if you want to reach out to the bank directly, you can always do that through Jessica. So I am going to officially stop talking without technical difficulties, and I'm sorry for that.
Happens to the best of us, and there is always the power of editing. Thank you all for coming. I know we had a lot of people join at around 8:30. So if you did miss the beginning aspects of this, we do have this recording. It may not be perfect, but we could definitely send that out to you so you're able to watch the beginning of that as well. I know a few other people just hopped off, but you're welcome to post if you have any questions. Otherwise, you're of course welcome to email me. I know you all have my email, but I'll put it in the chat right now just in case. And I'm happy to pass along any questions that come to our M&T team, or if you're interested in starting one of those workshops that Dutch was mentioning, going towards your communities about, say, scam and fraud prevention, things of that nature. I'm happy to help organize one of those as well. So let me just plug one last time, like Dutch did, that last session on home buying, which we are super excited about because it is not one that we have done before. And we previously had done a topic on One Mortgage, which was specifically for first-time home buyers, and that was super, super popular. So if you do, I've just popped that registration link in the chat. So if you are one of those folks who's worried about the fact that housing in Massachusetts is super expensive and you don't know where to start, this is a great place for you and your community to go to. So seeing that no questions have come into the chat, I think I will give everybody 15 minutes of their life back. Tech issues aside, fantastic presentation. I'm excited to show people this recording and then again, power of editing. And we will see you all next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Goodbye.